We talked with author Amanda Zieba about her book Destiny by Design, the fourth book in her cozy reading Champion Chocolatier series. We talk about origins in writing, delve deep into the world of WordNerdopolis. We find out what's next with this prolific author and where people can find out more. You can find more conversations, food reviews, live music, and events on our website, lacrosselocal.com. I'm Amy.
And I'm Brent.
And this is Lacrosse Local.
Hi, my name is Amanda Zieba. I was born and raised in Onalaska, Wisconsin. And when people say, like, how long have you been writing? The typical answer is, like, forever. Was one of those people who, like, thought school shopping, back to school shopping to be a national holiday. Like the idea of like fresh notebooks and brand new pens and planners, like that always excited me. But I have been self-publishing books since 2013 and writing weekly on my blog for the last 4 years. So always, but more recently, the books on the blog.
So can you give us a rundown on some of your books? Because you have, like you said, from 2013, you have quite a few.
Yeah, absolutely. I have 12 books. Some are for children, some are for adults, and I like to call them feel-good fiction. I know that there is a really important place for books about heavy and important topics, but I also believe that we really just need an escape sometimes from reality. And these days it feels like more than ever. And so that's what my books are. They're a sweet escape. They are made up stories that help you feel good. I also really like writing about regional places. So I have one series that's actually set right here in La Crosse about 4 cousins who open a bookstore downtown. And then I have another series that's set in Duluth about a woman who runs a chocolate shop. I also really like to write about female entrepreneurs. I am one, so I kind of know that world, but it's also much cheaper to write about a business than actually have to open it yourself. And it's still just as much fun.
Yeah, checking out your website, it's kind of interactive. You have some videos on there. What is WordNerdopolis? I just thought that was an interesting link. I went to your website. And I'm like, it's an imaginary world of some sort.
Yeah, I was working with a business coach who was helping me redesign my website. And she's like, what kind of, if your website was like a physical place, what would it be? And I was like, well, it would be a bookstore because I write books, but it would also be a school because I teach, and maybe there'd be a movie theater because I like to make YouTube videos. And like, it just got to be all of these buildings. I was like, it isn't one building, it's like a city. And I often call myself the word nerd. And so I was like, it is WordNerdopolis, and there is a building for every single kind of word nerd on my site. So the images that you see there were actually painted by another local entrepreneur. Her name is Rachel Wunsch. And so I went to her with the idea and I was like, I need a city, a word nerd city. Will you paint it for me? And so then it just kind of grew from there. So yeah, you can visit the site and go to the bookstore or go to the movie theater, or you can go to the gym for a writer's workout. Little something for everybody.
And then also with your new release, it looks like it's book 4 and then Champion Chocolatier series. So Destiny by Design. What is that about?
Yeah, so Champion Chocolatier series, if you like Hallmark movies, you will like these books. Super light and fluffy, like I said, a sweet escape. And there's always some elements of competition in the story. So in the first book, the main character, Emmy, is trying to win a chocolate shop. In the second book, she goes on a reality cooking show. And that was actually inspired by our local celebrity baker, Jen Barney. And then I didn't have intentions of writing more books on that series. But then when I saw her, I was like, hey, maybe my character should go on a cooking show. So that was book 2. Book 3, Emmy and her fiance compete in a honeymoon competition to win a free honeymoon. And then in this 4th book, they are renovating an old warehouse and turning it into a boutique hotel, kind of like the Charmant. And so they get involved in another competition. Emmy has promised her husband she will not, do any more competitions, but this one kind of falls in her lap and she can't say no. So the Destiny by Design is all about interior design. You get to see several different contestants and their projects from beginning to end. Maybe because I watched a lot of HGTV, in the pandemic and staying home so much, but it's super fun.
So another thing I noticed, kind of that interactive component of your website, you also have a section like for readers, for writers, for teachers. So what is that about?
So I again, when I was working with this business coach, trying to decide like, how do I tell people about what I do? Because I do a lot of things. And I kind of realized that I have three main audiences, readers of my books, writers, because I like to write, but I also was a teacher, am a teacher. So I kind of take both worlds and put them into like a digestible format. Like I know how to write, I know how to teach. I take those two skills and I put them together to teach other writers how to write, how to blog, how to write a novel, how to market their own books. And then I also create resources for teachers. I was a middle school teacher for 12 years, and now I teach part-time writing at Western. And so I want to share those things that I know with other educators as well.
Wow. It just seems like an elaborate, interesting world you've, created in here at this. I have to like slow down to say it, but WordNerdopolis.
Yeah.
It's good. So what's next for you? What's coming up? What are you excited for in the new year?
I have a couple of projects on the horizon. Book 3 in the Close Quarters series, that's the lacrosse series. I plan to write that and release it in 2022. And then I have a young adult science fiction pair of novels that I wrote, and they were the first ones that I wrote on my own without guidance of somebody else in the self-publishing industry. And they came out in 2013 and 2014. And they were the best that I could do then. So I was proud of them then. But when I compare them to the 2021 me or the 2022 me, they're a little bit embarrassing. So the really great thing about self-publishing is you can go back and you can improve things that you've done in the past. So I have a big goal to, relaunch and redo those. I think that's common probably for like any creator. Like if you were a musician or an artist, like you look back at your early work and you're like, oh goodness, like, I don't know about that. And it's good because you're growing, right? But like, I also don't want people to read that book first and think that is me and my skill level, when really I've learned a lot since then and I can do so much better. So I would like to redo those.
That's kind of interesting, just thinking about, I'm sure there's so many writers that were born, in a time well before this that would love to have the opportunity to not necessarily re-release, but almost just change something in its entirety. That's kind of cool being able to do that. So if people want to find out more, what's the best avenue for them to, follow or check out your e-news or just find out what's going on with you?
Yeah, I would say probably the easiest way is just to go to my website, and it's just my first and last name, amandazieba.com. And then you can see what Brent was talking about with all the different buildings and cool interactive parts. Otherwise, I am on Instagram at wordnerd_AmandaZieba. I'm on Facebook, just Amanda Zieba author, and I'm on YouTube, just Amanda Zieba as well. So probably the best way to get a hold of me is my website. But if you just want to check out some of my other work, those other places are good too.
Lacrosse Local Podcast is a production of River Travel Media. Do you have an interview idea you'd like to share with us? Message us on Facebook at Lacrosse Local. Find out more about us at lacrosselocal.com, and you can subscribe to the Lacrosse Local Podcast on your favorite podcast app. If you like us, rate us 5 stars. We appreciate it.